Hello everyone. This video is a continuation in the series, and we're going to talk about the CMMT series controller from Festo, and we're specifically talking about the parameters. In the last video we talked about the EPD AOI, which is the extended process data AOI. That's this AOI right here, and we set that up to get this data right here. As you can see, I'm still online with the controller here, and I have this information right here where the data is coming in. We mapped it, and so on and so forth. In addition to that, I broke out a couple of the bits from this one object 5 here, which is the device interface X1A status, which is looking at the state of these signals right here, this X1A connector. I'm bringing this up because I'm going to try and do the same thing in the next example, but in a different way. So we have downloaded from the Festo website, after searching for the CMMT-AS EP controller, we've downloaded this function block library here. The function block library, if you open it up and unzip it, comes with, it's the point-to-point Rockwell 1.2, comes with the documentation, the AOIs, and examples. Okay. In the documentation, there is this application note, point-to-point drives. If you open that, you are getting this particular document right here, okay, which specifically talks about the other AOI that's in the library. It talks about this point-to-point drives Festo, but there is one section at the end that discusses single parameter read-write. Okay, so if you scroll here, you'll see here that you have the table of contents, and section 6 and 6.1 talks about a single parameter read-write function. Okay, I've added my own bookmarks. I just went up to new bookmarks from structure. I selected these 3 and then hit OK, and it basically created these based upon all the headings. So I'm going to go to the 6 single parameters here, and this section right here, which I'll expand a little bit here, basically in a nutshell talks about adding a message instruction, and then it talks about configuring a message instruction for read and write of the parameters. Okay, so that's what we're going to discuss. I'm doing that because the extended process data only allows up to 8 bytes in and out, whereas this functionality allows you to access any parameter you want, and you can have as many message instructions as you want in a controller based upon maximum number of connections at a time. But I mean, we can always stagger these message instructions if they're not like extremely important to the process. So let's talk about that in general. There's some decent instructions in here. In case you don't get the instructions, I'm going to go through this example. Okay, and the one thing in the application note is that the parameter read-write logic, which is what we're going to do right now, is only in version 17.05.0 and higher firmware versions. Okay, that's extremely important to know. Anything else important in the app note here? Nothing. Okay. Okay, so let's move on here. In the Rockwell world, I'm going to go offline here, save the project. This is from a previous example. I'm just going to add below this code here. So, as it says in the user manual included in the download, the first thing we do is add a message instruction. So let's quickly add a message instruction here. Add a rung, MSG, and what I specifically want to do is I want to read the same tag that is this right here. So I can look at both the data coming from the message instruction and the extended process data at the same time. So 101.51 is the device interface. Right here, this is the last ID 5. Looking at this right here, I want to look at this parameter, 101.51. I want to read that with the message instruction instead of the process data. Okay, that's the intention here. And let's get to it. All right, so we need to give this message a name. So I'm going to call it, well, let's talk about something else first. So the drives, the EthIP drives are built with Profi drive in the background. So Profi drive is being transported across EthIP telegrams, and there is the user manual, the software user manual. So if I go back to the website, we've already downloaded the technical manual, which is the software manual. So this software manual right here, you download it, you open it up, and you get this manual right here. Okay. Okay, when you open up the user manual, you'll see that it's, some general information at the beginning, and then it's separated into EtherCAT, Profinet, and EthIP. Okay. The Profinet, as I said, is the baseline for the EthIP. It's what's happening in the background. And there are PNUs. I've taken the liberty of labeling some things here in this. And the way that the message instruction is set up is that you use the PNU number and the subindex number to configure the message instruction. So in our case, we want to look at parameter 101.51. So in this case, I go to the user manual and I do a search in this table, 101.51, find it. That's not the one I'm looking for, I don't think, or is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, so this is the parameter right here. So the parameter number is 101.51, and it is PNU number 2880. Okay, and when you look at the, so that's the parameter number. So I'm going to call this message instruction what we're talking about, so we have a good understanding. PNU 0288 underscore 0 R for read, and then message. I'm just going to say new instruction, or new tag, and say create. It's now been created, and now we can start to configure. Again, referring back to the user manual, it talks about the fact that we're going to do a get attribute single right here for reading data, and a set attribute single for doing writes. The set attribute single can't be used. You need to use a custom because of some Rockwell issues. But basically, this one here we're going to move along with it. The class is always 401 in all circumstances. It's the instance and attribute that relate to the parameter and the subindex of the parameter. So we are doing 2888 with a subindex of 0. So up here we're going to do a get. I can find something here. Get attribute single. So it puts the E in there for us. As I said, it's always 401. The instance is going to be 2888, which is the parameter, and 0 is the index. We need a destination element, so we need to store the data in the tag, of course. So it's basically going to go get the single attribute, and it's going to store it in the destination tag. And it's important to understand that the destination tag should be identical to the data type used in the Festo Automation Suite. Okay, so this is an unsigned integer 32. In our case, in this tag, so this unsigned integer 32 is the double integer, basically. So in the PLC code here, I'm going to say new tag, give it a name. So this is 288.8 subindex 0 read value. Give it a double integer and create, and then I can pick that tag. Click. And from a communication standpoint, we want to choose this connection over here. So you go to browse, come down there, hit OK, hit apply, and the instruction is configured, but we need to make the instruction run on a regular basis. So I'm going to add I'm going to add a bit to activate it here. Give this a right click and add a description to it. Control D. So enable continuous, and then I'm going to add a branch around it. You can go up to here and add the branches. I've got some quick keys here, so I just drop in this right here, and this is just normal code here. So if it's done, or if you have an error, reset it, do it again. So this will make it run continuously, okay? And then, just like I did for this data up here, I'm going to add a tag. Which is this tag right here, the value. Okay. I'm going to add this to the code here so I can monitor what's going on. I'm just going to move this over here a little bit, back out. I want to do the same thing up here just so I can see all the bits and bytes at the same time as opposed to looking at the data table. So right now the value here has nothing labeled right here. I'm going to start to label it just like I did the other one, and so on and so forth. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've labeled all the bits again, and I'll go back to here. I'm going to paste in some code. So, like I said, this message instruction is writing to this value right here. And the idea here, if I zoom out a little bit here, it'll be a mirror image of this data that's up here. Okay? So this is one message instruction, which I'm going to leave in here just so we can see both work at the same time. And hit the save button, and I'm going to do a download. Download. Run mode. Okay, we can still see that the process data is working here. I'm going to hit D-stop, off, on, okay. And then down here, let's see that again. Nothing's changing here at all. Okay, it's because I don't have it enabled. So if I Control T or toggle the bit, so Control T, I'm going to undo that and make sure that it's got a done bit and not an error. So that's good. There's no online errors, otherwise it wouldn't be communicating. And I'm going to leave this on right now. So it's cycling back in the background here. And I'm going to hit the e-stop and see the transition of the bits. So you can see up above here that it's basically a mirror image. In fact, because all right. So that's the simplicity of adding a single parameter read or write. So let's just look at the write now. So I'm going to go offline here. First, I'm going to hit the save button. I'm going to go offline. And I am going to put that, for organization purposes, into its own routine. Delete the branch. And I'm going to take all this code right here, cut it, paste it, do a call. Okay, so now we're a little more structured here. And the next thing I want to show you is the write, because there's a little bit of a flaw with the Rockwell software. You need to accommodate for that. And yeah, so let's look at the Festo automation suite here. We have a common area here. Move this over here so we can see the side. And under the field list tab, something that you would want to manipulate is, for example, the acceleration, deceleration, and jerk. Okay, these values right here. And so I'm going to write to these values using the formula in the guide. And first thing we need to know is the parameter number, so 112.804.02. So then I go to the reference list, put this in here. Now there's, hang on. Something's wrong with my search in here. Yeah, maybe I took down the wrong number here. Yeah, I did. So let's go back and search for the correct one. Okay, so the acceleration, appropriate that for this parameter. Let's just go here. Okay, so we see here that the PNU for this is 12325. Which is in that list here. I don't know why I didn't find this particular one before in searching, but either way. So these are my parameter numbers right here. 325, 326, 327, all with a subindex of 0. And I want to write to those. And the first thing you need to make sure is that they are read-write. That's important, because if you try to write to a read-only, I'm sure you're going to get like errors. Let's just configure it now. So let's add a new routine. Right click, new routine, give it a name. Okay. And I'm going to add some code. Type in the message. Give it a, let me zoom in a little bit here for you guys. So give it a tag name 13250 write in that message, and then give it a new. You'll see everything looks good. Okay. And then here's the one thing. So normally you would come through here and do a set attribute single. Okay. Do the 401 as always. And then because we're doing 1, 2, 325, that's the instance, and then 0. And then, of course, you need to specify a source tag. I'm going to say new tag. Give it the right value here. It is a double integer? Let's see here. And it's a float. It's a real. So it needs to be a real. And say create. And then go pick that. And a real is 4 bytes long. And then you would hit apply. You're going to do a path. Again, we pick the path over here, which is over here. Hit apply, and OK. Normally that's good, but in the Rockwell world of things, they have a tech note, whereas a device that sends back a response to a rate message, you need to have the ability to capture that. Otherwise, the message instruction will fault. And in order to do that, remember what we've got here, because we need to do a destination element. So we need to configure this as a custom, specify the 10. Again, 401 and 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 0. And apply. And now we have the option to add a destination element. So the destination element, I'm going to add a destination element type dint. I'm going to create this tag in the PLC again, and then I'm going to pick it right here. Oh, wrong one. Okay. Hit apply, and OK. Save. And now I'm going to doctor up the message instruction a little bit better. Okay. So I'd like to see everything on one line of code here, so I'm going to add an enable just like we did on a previous. 8. I've got these quick keys here. New to bool. I'm going to name it, and then I'm going to add a move instruction. And the move instruction, I want it to be the right value, so I can just, it's not really doing anything, but whatever I value I put in here, I can look at the message instruction operating, I can enable, I can do everything right here. That's just my way of doing things. I'm also going to add a branch here. And the branch, let's do here, as we did in the other one before. I'm just going to copy and paste here, copy. Paste. And now that I've changed the names, okay, so I've changed the names to match the message. They're done and everything. So save, verify, everything's good. Okay, let's download and see if this works. Of course, I just want to map it in the routine here first. I'll add the other ones in a minute here. Do download. Yes. Close all except for the right. Okay. Let's prepare for a test. So right now the acceleration is 0.5. There we are right here. And let's make it a zoom in a little bit here so you can see what we're doing. Let's make it I don't know, acceleration, make it 2.0 and enable the instruction. It's enabled, and so it's continuously writing, and you'll see here that it was just updated. So that's good. Toggle. So you see here that everything works. You'll see that the custom has changed to set single, but we now have destination element. If that wasn't there, we would actually have a problem. And we can continue to add the message instructions for the remaining parameters. And that is the gist of how to add the single parameter read write from the message instruction here. And that's about it. The discussion on parameter access to the CMMT series controller is now complete. I hope that this really helps everyone. Enjoy.